Hi world, it's 22nd of July 2023. It's about 7:30 p.m. in the evening UK time. Just a quick snapshot of where we are. The Sun is opposite Pluto. The Sun will be moving into Leo in about 6 hours time. The Sun is also squaring, as is Pluto, the North and the South node. And at the time that I speak, and over the next 12 hours, the Moon in the sky is opposing Neptune also. This is a time in the short term, as in the next 12 to 24 hours, of a lot of closure and endings. And as the Moon moves opposite the North Node and square the Sun and square Pluto by Tuesday evening, there's going to be a lot of release of energy, and a lot of things are coming to a natural and organic close at this time. Don't fight it, just go with it. By Wednesday, there's a whole new ball game of energy coming in. But it's not just this stuff. We've still got Mercury squaring Uranus quite strongly now and over the next 2 or 3 days. Mars is still only 1 degree away from opposing Saturn. Venus will go retrograde in 7 hours' time. This is a quite interesting time. Time to be still inside oneself and to flow with the go. But this is not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is that I want to tell you a story. So this is called Listen with the Astrologer. If you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. How does astrology work? What is the valent force behind astrology that empowers it to become different to any other form of divinatory art? Over the years, I've constantly said, if I could understand how I did what I did, I wouldn't do it anymore. It's the not knowing which makes it interesting. It's the pattern recognition and the just sort of opening my mouth and letting the words fall out that gives me my ability, if you like, to be able to translate horoscopic patterns. But when I'm dealing with all my students and they say to me, how does astrology work? And I always say to them, well, to be a good astrologer, you've got to have an understanding of mathematics and geometry and a good intuition and a good relationship with psychology. Because if you haven't got psychology and intuition and geometry and maths, you can't draw a horoscope from scratch. Of course, there's computer programs. But if you can't do it by hand, you're not an astrologer. And along with the intuition, the psychology, the mathematics and the geometry, there's also the understanding of symbology, the recognizing of patterns and symbols. And yes, these are all very important when it comes to doing a horoscope. But even then, with all of those particular skills, talents, arts and attributes, there's another deeper side to astrology, which is basically impossible to comprehend, understand, or consciously work with. Now, some of you know, I've given up trying to see astrology as an it. I've completely sold on it. Astrology to me is a she. It is alive. People don't find astrology. Astrology finds people. And I've got a wonderful story that demonstrates how, or rather that suggests to me, not so much in terms of proof, but pretty causical, about how astrology gives a good reason for why we are here. See, once I realised that astrology was not an it and it's a she, then I realised that there's no such thing as death, just a transition of consciousness, that we've always been around in some shape or form and we always will be in some type of different dimension. And that as a result of this, it's not just all about this life. Now, here's the story. A couple of nights ago, I was dealing with my students on my intermediate course in astrology, and I was talking about the asteroids, the major asteroids And I did a bit of work on the minor asteroids, the stuff that deals with certain very niche, specific urges and impulses that have to be pretty accurate to work, but they do work. And one of my students turned around, and I've got her permission to talk about this. One of my students, in the middle of the class, turned round and said on a text, she said to everyone else, "Hey, whilst you've been talking, I've Googled my name to see if it's an asteroid." And it was. The student's name was Marianne. And she Googled to see if there was an asteroid. She found out that there was an asteroid called Marianne. She found out the position of it at the time of her birth. And at the time that she was born, the asteroid Marianne was precisely conjunct her ascendant. It was rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment of her birth, and her name was Marianne. I was blown away by this. I thought, well, that's a great example of how astrology's got a much deeper resonance and how it kind of puts forward the suggestion that we volunteered to come here. So I emailed her and I said, "Look, do you mind if I do a video on this?" And she came back to me and she said, "Oh, I've done some more work on this. I want to do some empirical research on it so we can try and make astrology more understandable to others." And she also looked at her son's horoscope. And in her son's horoscope, the asteroid Marianne's son, at the moment he was born, was precisely conjunct his moon. The moon represents the mother in many cases in astrology. For this to occur, the odds on this to occur are like 360 times 360 times 360. What's the odds? And what this points to me is a clear sign of suggesting that this is not just random. We are not random people who are born to live our life as we choose. Now, I don't have any truck with fate. I really do believe in free will. But I also feel that there's a purpose, and that's suggested by the horoscope. The horoscope not only shows us our gifts, skills, talents, and opportunities, as well as our problems, difficulties, and challenges that we're born with, but it is also a roadmap to how we can evolve, grow, accelerate our spirituality, and become far more than we could have been without having the horoscope to guide us. It's like a blueprint of potential. And I've seen so many examples like the one I've just given you, that it's clear to me that we volunteered to come here for a specific purpose. And most part of the deal is that the moment you're here, the moment you're born, you forget why you volunteered. And you have to spend most of your life remembering why you volunteered to come here. And the horoscope is a big guide in that remembering. It also suggests that there's something far, far bigger, far deeper, far more meaningful, and far more connected with the universe and the cosmos than we've previously suspected. It suggests that, to be flippant, God does not play dice with the universe. It suggests that that we are not alone in this universe. And I am not talking about little green men and spaceships. I'm talking about different levels of consciousness. And that there is a kind of universal or galactic community out there that's waiting to welcome us into an enhanced form of consciousness, not based on money, power, sex, greed, control, based on empathy, compassion, kindness, love, but in a way that's user-friendly, pragmatic, practical, down-to-earth and grounded. And if you think I'm a hippie or just talking a load of silly nonsense, well, that's your right. But what are you here for? Why did you choose to come to planet Earth in the first place? What's your purpose? What's your mission statement? Why did you volunteer? And if you've got any better answers than me, please share them. And one last point. If you think I'm going over the top with this video, you wait till the next one. Catch you later, world. Bye.